This is TWiT.
I'm going to kick things off with my story of the week, which is about Mark Zuckerberg's true feelings about Instagram's success. So, as part of Meta's antitrust trial, which has been ongoing, we've been getting all these tidbits about the company's acquisition of Instagram. And there was an internal memo from 2018 that has revealed that Zuckerberg was a little worried that the popularity and growth of Instagram would cannibalize Facebook and then eclipse its success. And he apparently told Meta executives that this could lead to the, quote, network collapse of the more engaging and profitable product. So to prevent this, he apparently proposed a few solutions, one of which was building more connections between Meta's apps so that they could function as one network. But then the other thing that he apparently suggested was spinning out Instagram as a separate company. Now, this is really interesting because, you would think, okay, Facebook acquires Instagram, Facebook now Meta acquires Instagram, and they should be celebrating the fact that they have this platform that, can operate as a sister platform and otherwise was kind of a bit of a competitor to Facebook. But then to hear him kind of struggle with this idea of what if Instagram eclipses Facebook's success, and that idea of Facebook being the more, quote, engaging and profitable product. I mean, always thinking about that bottom line, but then also thinking about that connection, that emotional connection that he had with Facebook that he didn't necessarily have with Instagram because it was something that was acquired rather than something that he created. This is also interesting because, Mark Zuckerberg is currently fighting to prevent the FTC from splitting up Meta. And then here he is back in 2018, floating the possibility of spinning off Instagram himself. So I want to start off by talking about this idea of Instagram eclipsing Facebook's success, because I'm trying to remember when exactly I joined Instagram, but it was definitely when I was like a freshman in high school or in college rather, which must have been around, it was like, I was either a freshman or sophomore. It was around 2013 that I joined Instagram. And I do remember that when I did, I definitely did stop using Facebook a lot less. And I think people within the same age bracket might feel the same way, where Facebook suddenly became for the older folks, the less cool folks. It was less trendy. And then, a lot of us kind of just shifted over to Instagram. But Emily, what was your Instagram and Facebook journey like? Did you experience something kind of similar to that?
Totally. Yeah. I think we're just cut from the same cloth. And I mean, it felt like all my friends had the same thing. It was like Facebook kind of emerged in high school and it was like, whoa, we can like actually do this social network thing. I don't know. It just was like an explosion. It was totally new. And then very swiftly, we kind of, a few years later got on Instagram, and it just felt like Facebook has just slowly just full death. Like nobody I know uses it. I do use it for Marketplace, which I really like, but it's like fully dead. People don't post even like their wedding photos on there. They don't post when they move cities. Like it's just a relic. And so I see why Zuckerberg was concerned. I think he was right.
Absolutely. I think relic is also just a great description. I went on Facebook the other day for some reason that I don't even remember anymore. And I was like, I just feel like I blasted back to like 2010. I just don't. It's like a time capsule.
I don't know how that was just such a complete death. It almost feels beyond me, because I mean, it is kind of cool. It's kind of like very similar to Instagram. So I don't know. Instagram just blew past it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also, the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal was kind of the nail in the coffin, I think, in a lot of ways. But there was definitely this sudden vibe shift where once the cooler kid came into town and all the young kids went over to that. I think it's kind of similar to what's happening now with like Instagram and TikTok. I think Instagram is still a lot more relevant than Facebook was as we made that shift. But, TikTok is like the cooler, the new kid on the block. But,
there's kind of a trend there a little bit, because Facebook, when it started, felt a little bit personal. Like you would post on people's walls and it was public. There were things like, oh, update your relationship status. And it was really like putting yourself online.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then Instagram pared it down. It was like, oh, just put these photos.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like mystique around it. And now TikTok is even more anonymous, where most people don't post anything and they're just lurking and looking at it like entertainment. So it's almost getting less and less personal.
Absolutely. And actually, my favorite thing about TikTok is that I don't really see my friends' posts on there.
Yeah,
Really
it's anonymous. It's like a safe space almost. You just do your own thing, follow your interests.
It is. And sometimes I'm like uncomfortable when I'm like, oh yeah, like people I know. I'm not doing anything ridiculous on there, but I'm like, that's kind of where you just kind of break free and you're like, the right people will find this with the right interest. And then somebody you actually know, like the people that you know start liking it. And you're like, oh yeah, like people can see this. That's right. My actual
Yeah, like I have this one guy from high school who likes some of my like podcast clips from stuff like this. And I'm like, that is those two worlds. That's just too much.
Fully agree. We do need a safe space, and it's getting a little too popular. But that just seems to be the trajectory for all these platforms. But yeah, so okay. So then the other piece of this is there's a really great story that I saw in the Washington Post about why Mark Zuckerberg is so pressed about Instagram's success, and it explores the idea of envy, which is just really interesting. It references something called the theory of envy, which is that you're more likely to feel envy toward people who are close to you, and when you perceive that they are successful, and when it's an area that matters to you, whether it's athletic abilities, romantic relationships, or professional accomplishments. And so that's such an interesting setup here. But this also highlights insight from a research professor emeritus named Abraham Tesser. And he says that Mark Zuckerberg might be treating Facebook, again, which he started as an extension of himself, versus Instagram, which is, something that was acquired, and it's more of like this close friend that he envies. And so that is just a really interesting way to perceive that as well.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that kind of adds up there?
Yeah, and then the article just used the word relatable, and I was like, that is really relatable. That I could see if I mean, I've never really put myself in Mark Zuckerberg's shoes, and reading that article, I was like, well, if I put myself in Mark Zuckerberg's shoes, I might feel the same way because he started Facebook in college. I mean, what a tender memory. And like we saw that the Social Network movie, and it kind of changed the world. And like, how could you not have a soft spot for that? Even if you're kind of like a billionaire slime ball, there's a soft spot in there, and I get it in this case. And then he bought Instagram, which I guess just was clearly better, probably in all the metrics. It just was better, and now it won. So he probably wants to keep Facebook alive. Maybe it's kind of like his little darling. Maybe that's why he hasn't changed it. Maybe he should.
I think that's true. And he's one of those tech executives that still remains a CEO of a company that he founded, hasn't stepped back like a lot of other tech CEOs and founders have. So he clearly has this very direct relationship with it. And so there has to be maybe a sense of resentment there but then the alternative is if they had never acquired Instagram. That's what I've been thinking about, right? Like, do you think Instagram would have become what it is now? I think no, but I think spinning it off also, which was that idea that he was toying with, I think that would have been a very foolish decision for Meta. And so it's been interesting to read about how emotions have really played into a lot of those decisions that he made about even Instagram's growth, because Instagram's co-founder, Kevin Systrom, has said that Mark Zuckerberg would turn down requests for hiring more employees or, improving the app in various ways. So I don't know, what do you think could have been the alternative here? Do you think, if this acquisition hadn't happened, would we still be even talking about Instagram right now?
I don't know. I'm thinking about WhatsApp, really. Like they also have WhatsApp. I feel like the Instagram acquisition just opened the door to so many things, and it's hard to even imagine a world. I mean, they clearly sprinkled some magic fairy dust on it because it just has completely taken off, and even I think for the most part survived TikTok. Like I think I saw yesterday a study, the top 3 sites for Gen Z are YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Yeah. So Instagram is still fighting its way in the top there. So it's so hard to say if it would have stuck around if he hadn't bought it. I have no idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of would have, could have, should have. But what we do know is as this trial proceeds, we will definitely get more nuggets out of this and find out more about what was going on behind the scenes as Facebook and Meta kind of continue to rise in power and influence.